So towards the beginning of March, I relapsed with my ME CFS. I'd been fairly well functioning, like up until that point. Over the preceding years, it is, if you have ME CFS and you're lucky enough to be up and about and capable of working at least a bit and living your life a bit, you'll find this happens almost certainly. You cannot count on your energy levels. And anyway, but I had this quite significant relapse, and with it came heart problems, which terrified me. I've done a half marathon. I was training for a full marathon, a little over a decade ago. My heart, I always thought was very strong and dependable, and I've had an astonishingly good diet since coming down with ME CFS. I'm on the paleo diet. I have, when I felt well, had periods of time when I've had some alcohol, for Christmas period, on holiday, or an important party, a special party or something. I have drunk, but generally speaking, I don't drink. I don't smoke. I don't eat or drink anything that's bad for me. It's all nutritionally, counted. And if it's not good for me, I don't eat or drink it. So to find, having taken care of myself so carefully for so many years now, to find myself with heart problems, it worried me. And as I say, this coincided with a general dip in energy levels, and then a falling off a cliff dip towards the beginning of March. So I went back online, finding myself flat on my back again. With the limited energy I had, I went back online in desperation just to see if research had moved on since I first came down with ME CFS, and also just see what else I could find. And I went back to Dr. Sarah Myhill's website, and I really recommend it. Really recommend it. She had some online presence when I came down with it in 2017, but it's not as fulsome, comprehensive, dense as it is now. I mean, it's, to be honest, there's so much information there, it's a little bit overwhelming. But I want to go there. It's worth the time. And she now has a kind of protocol in place, because we don't get support from our doctors because they don't know yet. But Dr. Sarah Myhill has now decades of experience of supporting CFS sufferers. And there's a lot of information there. And so, having turned back to her and finding her really meticulous, comprehensive web pages, I saw that she was open to new patients again, private patients. So I reached out to her, and it took quite a while to get that appointment, to get the questionnaire, get it filled in, get all of the shenanigans of paying for it done. It's not a prompt process, but it was really worth it. And what she came back with on Monday, the 15th of April, for me, was just a really, felt like, and expensive, comprehensive supplement regime. And I'm just going to run through that with you now, because some of it is kind of what she reckons we should all be taking all the time anyway, particularly if you're she has something called Groundhog Basic, which she thinks everyone should be taking. And if you were to go to her site and type into the search term area on her webpage, if you type in Groundhog Basic, it will pull up that regime, that protocol, and you can read it for yourself and follow it. Then there's Groundhog Chronic. So that's for those of us with a chronic condition or those who are over 50. And I tick both criteria. So I am now on Groundhog Chronic. Okay, so that was a part of her advice coming back, is to go on that package of stuff. Now, what is that package of stuff? It includes a multi-vitamin and mineral supplement, which she thinks everybody should be on. She recommends a certain brand, which I will move to once I finish my current brand. So just go to a reputable supplier. She recommends a brand called BioCare, which I will turn to, which is a reputable provider of supplements. Currently I'm on Performance Lab Multi for women, but Cytoplan's a great company. British Supplements is another great company that I've used. So just do your own research and find companies that work for you. Then there's also multi-minerals. And actually when they did my bloods for when I went to A&E for my heart, my doctor picked up, A&E didn't, but my doctor picked up that I was low on potassium. So it just reminded me really that it was something, that was a good prompt, that however good my diet is, it's either not sufficiently nutritionally dense, the foods we get today, that we consume today in comparison with, 50, 100 years ago, prior to the really intensive farming, agricultural farming that we do now, which strips the soil of nutrients and so on and so forth. But also my diet it's fairly varied, but it's not massively varied. And I do cut out things like starches, which it turns out are quite high in potassium. So you do, I think if you're on a restrictive diet in any way, shape or form, then that making sure you get your minerals. Now, what she does, Sarah Myhill, she sells sunshine salt and multi-mineral mix. Now, she recommends one or the other. Go on, have a look. I'm taking the multi-mineral mix, which also includes all the minerals, but it also includes B12 and D3, vitamin D3, which are both really important. She also recommends, in relation to vitamin D3, that we get 10,000 international units a day, which is way over the recommended daily allowance. But have a look at her site and see what she says about vitamin D. And I mean, it is one of the ones that you can overload on, like vitamin A, I know is another one. There's another one I can't remember. You have to be slightly careful. But she's really clear and has research links and so on to demonstrate why and how it's so important. And I have to say, historically, looking back over having ME CFS, I've always felt better for sitting and lying in the sunshine. Well, maybe that's partly because of the vitamin D, right? Then, what else I'm trying to remember? This may come in no particular order, okay? There's a mitochondrial support package that I put myself on actually about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, that may have been starting to have an effect before my upswing, before the extra supplements that she's recommended. So I'll just speak to those first. That mitochondrial package, she recommends acetyl L-carnitine, which is like a powder, and it's disgusting. It's really disgusting, but apparently it's really important in mitochondrial function, in getting something across a cell membrane somehow, some way. So I'm having that along with niacinamide. Don't know if I've pronounced that correctly. That's vitamin B3. It's a slow release form that doesn't make you, flush. And I think that's involved in something called the Krebs citric cycle. Might be wrong, don't know what that is, but that term has stuck with me, and that's also involved in mitochondrial function. Mitochondria are kind of the engines in our systems. So we need them working properly. We need them because we need energy. Then she also recommends vitamin B12. Right, so vitamin B12. I've been taking vitamin B12 through the years. I've now, since Wednesday, started taking injections. And, it's not cheap. I've had to buy the needles, the kit. There's like this, you have to dispose of them properly, so you have to buy the correct little bins and notify your council to carry away this medical waste, this dangerous medical waste. And then you get the vitamin B12. I was going to give you the proper name of it, but I can't remember what the proper name of it is. Again, you can get all of this through going to Dr. Myhill's web pages. You can see it all there. But I inject 0.5 mils, and it's hard to know what's been the most important factor in my upswing. But I have a feeling that's something to do with it, that may be important. Apparently there's some of us just don't really absorb vitamin B12 very easily. But it seems we seem to absorb it better when we're taking injections. So I started jabbing myself every day. Which is actually, the first day it was fine. It didn't hurt at all. I hardly felt it. But something about what I'm taking the last few days has made my skin really sensitive. So if I knock it, it's like my sensitivity to pain has shot through the roof. So yeah, I feel it now. But it's worth it. I'll do anything. Then there's also, as an emergency kind of go-to, is D-ribose, which is a form of sugar that apparently the body makes and is really key to mitochondrial functioning. But I think with those of us with CFS, either it's very slow producing it or what, but it's necessary. It's hard for the body to produce, it's slow for the body to produce, so actually taking a spoonful or two of it when we really need it can be helpful. And I have to say, I was taking that last week with coffee. Apparently it works particularly well with coffee, and I think it did help. I do think it did help. I've now come off it because I'm on paleo diet, ketogenic diet. So I want to stay in ketosis. I don't want to push myself back into using, glucose, drawing on glucose as my fuel, really. So I've not back on it. It's for emergencies. The final thing for mitochondrial function is CoQ10. And for the life of me, I can't remember where or how that comes from. I just know it's really important for mitochondrial function. And so I'm taking that. Then I'm also taking something called glutathione, another supplement. But this one apparently it supports our detoxification, and there's something in my questionnaire that indicates to Dr. Myhill that I'm a slow detoxer. I don't know how she knows that, but having looked at all my questionnaire and all my bloods, she indicated that. So I'm taking glutathione. I'm also taking thyroid glandular. Now this is interesting. It's really interesting, and Dr. Myhill has a lot to say about the thyroid. And I haven't read it. I've read a few chapters of it. I haven't read it all yet, but she's written a book on the thyroid as well. She's very interested in it. And I can't help but wonder if this is the thyroid glandular is a part of my upswing. Who knows? The problem is I'm trying so much right now that I don't know, as I discussed with my doctor, we don't know what's going to be the factor that works. But I turn to Dr. Myhill for a reason. And if she, having looked at my full clinical picture, is turning around and saying I'm a slow detoxer, I'm going to trust her. If she's looking at my results and indicating that I have early onset hypothyroidism, then I'm going to believe her. So just a bit about the thyroid. And Dr. Myhill has a lot to say about this, as I say, so go to her book or go to her website on it. Apparently in the UK, you will only get diagnosed as potentially having hypothyroidism if your TSH level, that's thyroid stimulating hormone, if your TSH level is at 5 or above, right? I mean, in some cases, doctors apparently won't prescribe or look at you as potentially hypothyroid until you're closer to a level of 10. I'm only at 3, right? But Dr. Myhill is quite critical of our system in the UK, which is so focused on blood test results and looks at those results at the exclusion of everything else. So what she looked at with me was a TSH result of 3, which incidentally, apparently in the States, they'll look at as a figure possibly indicating hypothyroidism. But she also looked at the fact that I have MCH and MCV levels that are high or higher than normal, which, oh God, I can't remember the term that's used to describe that. Macrocytosis or something like that. Anyway, I have that. And apparently hypothyroidism is a kind of causal or related thing to that. Then there's the fact that I'm cold all the time and my feet are perpetually freezing. And also the fact my resting heart rate is really low, and it didn't used to be. So my resting heart rate is anywhere from 50 to 58, with an average of about 55. And actually you can have such a thing as a too low heart rate. And my heart rate used to be up closer to 70 when I was fit and healthy and running half marathons. So that she thinks that's also indicative, as well as also all sorts of other stuff that I shan't bore you with. So I'm on these thyroid glandulars, and I'm to build up. So at the moment I'm on something called Metavive 1, which is a lower dose, and I'm gradually going to build up to Metavive 2, which is a higher dose. And at the moment I'm just on a tablet in the morning and a tablet in the afternoon, and then I'll gradually build up to 2 tablets in the morning and 1 in the afternoon, and so on until I reach a dose that is right. So that's happening, and one can't help but wonder if that is significant in how I'm feeling. I'm also taking iodine, Lugol's iodine solution, in the evening, which is apparently also supportive of the thyroid. I'm on a really low dose at the moment, so I can't see that would have a significant influence on me yet. At the moment I'm on like 1 drop and I need to get up to 8, but just building 1 a week. But that's happening. A big one, I think, possibly, and I'm going all out of order here, she sets things out really nicely on her web pages, is ascorbic acid, which is a form of vitamin C. And she has a whole kind of protocol for this. She's a massive advocate of vitamin C. And again, what I love about her is she always offers links to all the studies, which I do sometimes follow up on because I'm like that. And when I have the capacity to engage with this material, I want to understand, you know. And so it's slightly uncomfortable at the moment because what she indicates, recommending all this out of studies that have been done, is that to be really healthy, we should be on 80 to 90% of vitamin C to bowel tolerance. What that means is she recommends building up ascorbic acid, right, every day, a bit every day. I did that a bit wrong, so I overdosed on the first day and ended up on the loo. That's what she means by bowel tolerance, right? Diarrhea. Nice. So I had to just, if you don't have good concentration, if your brain isn't, you know, working properly, you don't always read stuff carefully. So I learned that the hard way. So I had to roll back, and I'm building that vitamin C, that ascorbic acid, back up. And it's, yeah, so at the moment my stomach is quite lively and makes all sorts of noises, which she says is absolutely normal to be expected and a good sign. But you build it up until such time that you have diarrhea. Then you hold it at that level for 24 hours, and then you take it down until a bit down until your stomach settles. And the whole idea apparently is to kill off the nasty microbes in the upper gut, which it generates fermenting, these microbes that have to do with fermenting gut, which have to do with all sorts of nasty things that happen in the body. So the idea is to kill these off. But also vitamin C is fantastic for, I think, supporting the immune system. So, and given the state of my immune system, I'm currently on 5 grams of ascorbic acid in the morning, and I'm about to do my first dose of 5 grams in the afternoon. And because I have terrible teeth enamel, I take it with magnesium carbonate, which apparently, not only do we need magnesium, which I'll come on to, but we also, that's apparently, you know, it's an alkaline, so it balances out the acidity of the ascorbic acid. So I think I feel good, although my stomach is feeling lively after the ascorbic acid. I actually feel quite good after the ascorbic acid. So in my head, that's another potential player in what's good about my new protocol. I'm kind of, yeah, that's a possible one. Magnesium, really important. And she recommends, I think it's 300 ml, at least 300 ml of, or milligrams, right, of magnesium a day, which I'm getting via a variety of sources, including from her multi-mineral mix, and the magnesium carbonate. I think that's everything. Oh no, finally, pregnenolone, which is something to support my adrenals, because if she indicates, given I've had CFS for so long, it's really, really likely that my adrenals are tired, that they're not working properly. And I mean, I know in myself that historically I can't get going in the morning unless I've had like 2 cups of coffee. I'm like a zombie. It's the coffee that gets me going in the mornings. Without it, it's like I haven't slept. and which, I don't know, I think the thyroid and adrenals are involved in feeling alert and good in the mornings. So yeah, pregnenolone, which apparently is upstream of DHEA and like adrenaline and cortisol and stuff like that. So so I'm taking that. All of the above, any and all of which might be leading to me feeling like I'm on an upwards trajectory, feeling like myself again, which is super exciting. So thank you, Dr. Myhill, and thank you to all previous CFS sufferers who have moved through this or versions of this protocol with her to bring us to this point where after just a few days, I am feeling like I'm in a different ballpark of energy, right? And like there's hope again. I'm bright. I think I'm gonna get better. The only thing is, it's expensive. All of this is really expensive. But I don't know. I'll do anything to be well again. So it's what it is, right?